What is up, guys? It's Dan the Man, and today I'm back with round 2 of the December Action Tournament held here at Chess Zone. And after getting a pretty lucky win in round 1 against Steve Higgins, where we had to sacrifice a piece for 2 pawns, but then he blundered with Bishop G5, allowing me to gain the piece back and eventually get a winning position. So pretty fortunate win there. And second round, we get a pretty formidable opponent by the name of Nicholas Karas. He's National Master, rated 2134. He's dropped a bit of rating since, but he's nonetheless crossed 2200 at some point in his career, and is nonetheless a strong player. And based on the title of the video, I'm obviously going to win this game, and I'm extremely proud to show this game to you because it's the best classical win I've ever had, and it's a great milestone to put on my bucket list that I beat a national master in chess, especially like this, and it's a great accomplishment, and I can't wait to share it with you guys. So, and also, since I'm playing on board 1, you guys can see the timestamps, which is convenient. So without further ado, let's go ahead and dive into the game here. So I'm with the white pieces, and I start the game off with e4, and Nicholas goes into the Caro-Kann defense with c6. I go with d4, and here he plays a move that I've never seen pretty much ever. Maybe once or twice in like Bullet or something, but besides that, I've never seen this more than a couple times. And he plays the move g6, which I guess makes sense. It's some sort of hyper-modern setup. And it's apparently called the, I'm going to butcher this name, Gurgenidze variation. Some Georgian name, I don't really know, but it's a less popular sideline. And it already gives white a slight advantage due to the space control. Much more common is d5, as you guys are aware. So I sort of squint at this move, and I just continue with my normal development with knight f3, and he goes with d5 now. I'm like, okay, he's just throwing in this g6 move for some reason, but otherwise it's normal. So I go ahead and capture in the center. I could have pretty much done anything. I could have played knight c3, I could have pushed. Anything it's pretty flexible here. So he takes back, and I go with bishop to d3. He goes bishop to g7, and I castle here. He goes knight c6, and I play c3 to keep my pawn defended. And he goes knight f6. So the opening's going pretty smoothly here. I just bring my rook to the center. He castles. We're both playing this pretty quickly. I go knight on b to d2 with the idea to reroute to f1, and then maybe e3 or g3, just to reposition my knight to a more optimal square. Here he plays the move bishop to f5, which to me looked a bit peculiar because I have the option to trade, and what that does is it doubles his f-pawns and slightly opens up his king side. But what I think he was going for is that he's going to have more support on the e4 square, and he's going to play knight e4 and have it be reinforced by 2 pawns, and that knight is going to be anchored there for a long time. And if I were ever to take the knight, then I would just be helping him out. So I'm sure that was his intention. So here, I play the move knight f1, as I described. I'm trying to remaneuver my knight to a better square. And as I also said, he plays knight e4, which was the whole point of fossilizing that square by the d and f pawns. And the engine gives me as a better position, but and there's not really a concrete way to do anything substantial to black. It's just better positionally, and it's going to be more long-term on how the advantage is going to grow. So here the top move is knight g5 to challenge the knight, but again, I don't really want to take the knight because I would be helping black out. So I didn't really do that. I played knight g3. I'm fine with him taking me, but I'm also just hitting the f-pawn, so he has to deal with that, and he chooses to play e6 to keep it defended. And here I could have played this move knight h5 to attack the bishop, which I do a move later, but that threat is always going to be there. That move is always going to be available. so I don't really need to rush into it. So I play an improving move. I play queen to e2, and I'm preparing to move the bishop off the back row and just develop and connect my rooks. So pretty standard. He plays rook c8, and as I described, I go knight h5. And I would really like to take black's bishop because it would weaken the king side, and I could maybe start some sort of attack. And what I was expecting Nicholas to do is just move the bishop to h8. It looks kind of ugly, but at least he maintains some defense of the dark squares. And there's not really... my knight isn't really doing anything... I mean, it's kind of annoying, but it's not like I'm threatening a checkmate of some sort. And after bishop h8, I was thinking about playing bishop to h6, rook e8, and although it looks like my pieces are menacing towards black's king, there really isn't a way for me to checkmate it, so it's an optical illusion. But I was totally expecting bishop to h8, if I'm being honest with you. Here he played this move f6, which I really didn't understand. So I just go ahead and take the bishop on g7. I don't really know why this is a mistake, but stockfish is stockfish. He takes back, and I go with knight h4, with the idea of bringing my queen to h5, where my queen and bishop would be aiming at the h6 square, and that could be posing some problems to black's king side. Also an idea is playing the move f3, and once the knight moves, I can have some ideas of taking on e6 once the knight is out of the way. So those are my ideas in the position. And here Nicholas Karras got into a long think because he noticed it. He probably felt that he's worse here, and he's scared about my queen coming to h5. So here he played the move after a lot of thought. He played the move queen to e8, which I understand. He's preventing queen h5 from happening. And here I play the move queen b5. My idea with queen b5 was that I wanted to move my queen off the e-file and threaten something in black's position that's undefended. And let's be hypothetical here. Let's say the rook went here. My idea would have been to play f3. And my idea here was that if the knight moves somewhere random, like to g5, my idea was to first move the queen off the e-file. That way my rook is on the same line as the queen, and then I would play this move knight takes f5 check. That was my dream scenario. So by playing queen b5, I'm gaining a little bit of tempo. I'm forcing black to react to my threat, and then I'm going to move the knight somewhere. Or I'm going to kick the knight with f3. So that's what I was thinking. But here, my queen can just be kicked out with knight d6, which Nicholas plays, which isn't the top move, but he's making me move my queen again. So here I play the move queen d3, apparently not the top choice of the computer, and I'm actually threatening this fork on g3, which would aim at the king and the knight. And if you look at the time here, Nicholas is down a pretty good chunk of time, 12 minutes roughly, and he's in a worse position. So I started to feel pretty confident about myself. Still didn't think I was going to maybe win. I didn't want to be too hasty with that, but I felt like that I was putting him on the edge here, which I was. So here he played the move queen d7, and I play queen e3 with the idea of threatening this pawn and also going queen h6 check, so I'm having a dual threat. And here he thinks for a long time again, 6 minutes, and plays the move king h8, which is actually a very tricky move, I have to admit. And he actually almost tricked me, because if I play queen takes e6, he actually has this ingenious move, rook c to e8. And I have some back rank issues now, because if I take his queen on d7, I get back rank mated, and there's no way for me to defend the rook on e1. So I'd have to sack the queen for the rook and be down a bunch of material. So I did not fall for that little trap he set. And I instead played the move queen h6, getting closer to the king, and also threatening knight g6, which would be a fork on the king and the rook. And here he plays queen f7 to defend that square, and he noticed he's now down 20 minutes on time, so he's down quite a bit. And time pressure is going to become a bit more of a reality here, since he doesn't have as much time to think. So here I play bishop to f4, just developing my last piece and attacking the knight. He plays knight c4. I go b3, and I was totally expecting the knight to just go to b6 or something, and the game would continue. But here he plays a, sorry about that, he plays a bit of a very tricky move, if I have to be honest with you. And he plays this move, knight to e7. And what knight e7 does is that he's actually preparing to go to g8, where my queen would be trapped. So he's threatening to trap my queen, which is something I totally overlooked. But I'm fine because after knight g8, I can play this move knight to g6 check, the only move, forcing the queen to take, and then I can trade queens. So that's the only way my queen can be saved. Alternatively, I can not take the knight on c4 and move my bishop somewhere. And after knight g8, I would go queen f4. Let me just show that real fast. I was juggling those two options in my head. I was thinking bishop c1 or something, knight g8, I have queen f4. And this approach would make the game more complicated with more pieces on the board. And I'm like, which is better? Do I go into this endgame by trading queens, or do I make it more interesting with more pieces? He does have lower time, so ideally I would want to keep the position more complicated. But at the same time, I didn't want to, he's a national master, I didn't want to, make it too complicated for the both of us. So after a bit of thought, I decide to go into the line where he traps my queen, but I have this check. And we enter this endgame where I'm better because I can play the move c5, blocking black's rook from staring at my c-file. Have a really solid pawn on c5. And I'm slightly better here. So he plays rook c6, defending the pawn on e6. And here I play rook b1, rook a to b1, attacking the b pawn. He plays b6. He's playing blitz now, only at below 5 minutes here. And here I play bishop d6, cutting off the rook from defending the pawn and also attacking the black rook on f8. Rook e8 was played. And here I play a pawn sack with c4, with the idea that if takes, I would go d5, and the pawn's pinned, so the rook would have to go backwards like this. And then I would just get these pretty annoying pawns on this 5th rank, which would pose some problems to Nicholas, who is down a lot on time. But he instead takes this pawn, and I had to redefend my bishop on d6. And at this point, my heart was racing because I felt like I was in a better position in endgame. He's on the verge of flagging, and this would be my highest ever classical win. Like, my heart was thumping in my chest. I was trying to stay calm, but also I was really excited, had an adrenaline rush, so a lot of nerves to manage here. So here he plays d takes c4, rook b7, just cutting the king off. He plays f4, bit of a tricky move. I don't want to relinquish control of the c5 pawn, so I don't take it. I play rook e4 to fork these pawns. He goes knight h6, and here I play the only move. Actually, this is a pretty cool move of mine. I play the move g4, which I'm pretty proud of this move because it stops the knight from going to f5 where it can get active. And now the knight is basically stranded on the side of the board. And if knight takes g4, I would take on f4 with my rook and be happy. And if en passant, then the knight is pinned, so he can't really take my pawn. Oh, sorry about that. Let's delete that. Okay. So after g4, he played g5. And here I just defend the pawn with f3. And now the endgame is drawn, but keep in mind he only has a minute on the clock. And I'm increasingly getting more and more nervous and excited at the same time. He goes rook a6, attacking the a-pawn. But I take on c4, and my c-pawn is pretty strong. He goes rook c8, trying to corral the pawn, trying to stop it. I go rook c to b4, king g8. And here, the only winning move was to play rook d7 with the idea to put the other rook on b7 and just have dominating rooks on the 2nd rank. And here I actually got a little bit complacent. I thought that pretty much any move was winning, so I thought I could just trade rooks on b8, which apparently blunders into a draw. But with 20 seconds on the clock, it's unlikely he'll play with perfect precision. So after his trade, he actually moves the king to the wrong square. He had to move it to h7 so that the knight isn't blocked by the king, and the knight could go to f7 to stop my pawn. That's what he should have done. But under low time, he can't do that. He didn't find that. So I play rook c8, preparing to play c6, c7, and queen. He goes king g6, now making space for the knight to come back. I go c6, knight f7, and here I play bishop to b8. And what I'm doing here is I'm preventing any sort of knight infiltration to stop my pawn. I'm also pressuring the a-pawn. Yeah, so here I play it. He plays knight e5, and at this point I realize I'm winning, so I just take the knight. He takes back. I can either push the pawn or check. I decide to check. He goes king to f7. I go c7, and I'm guaranteed to queen, or it'll be up a rook if he sacks the rook for the pawn. So he goes rook takes a2. I get a queen. He throws in a desperate check. And after king to f2, Nicholas Kyrgios resigns the game, and I officially get my best ever classical win in chess. Incredible milestone, and I was barely able to catch my breath after the game. I couldn't believe what I was seeing and what I have accomplished. I was having like tremors from all the stress going through my body because I couldn't believe I had just done this. And I needed to take a few minutes to decompress and relax and celebrate the victory. So very proud of this game. The accuracy, I played at 87.4, and he actually didn't play that great, apparently, 77.6, according to the computer. But it was still a really challenging game, and I can't believe I pulled off this feat, and I'm very proud of this game, as I've said many times already, and I hope you guys enjoyed the game as well. So if you like content like this, please don't forget to smash the subscribe button if you aren't subscribed already. Leave a comment, let me know what you thought of the video, and have a great rest of your day or night. Peace.